Yeah. When you tell me, I'll go live on YouTube as well.
We are now live.
Okay. Okay, we are live on YouTube as well.
Fine. You can start off today's broadcast.
Okay, good afternoon, viewers, and we are very pleased that we are getting such a large number of people participating in our YouTube and Facebook channels, and we are very thrilled to see this because it's really creating a stir in the system. Now, today's session is going to focus on, we got lots of email questions, etc., and the thing that seems to be confusing the Hindus are as follows. The concept of God itself seems to be still very tricky for them to grasp. So we're going to touch on this idea of concept of God itself. And on top of it also, we get a lot of emails saying, please help us because being threatened by people from Abrahamic tradition, showing us in poor light and finding faults with our religion and so on. So please help us to react in a way to try and give a more kind of a positive, a robust response to the Abrahamic religious people who are trying to undermine us. So these are the two issues I want to handle today. Let me start with the Abrahamic traditions. Now, you see, if you want to really, rather than be defensive all the time because they'll find faults in your scripture and so on, let us be a little bit more aggressive. This is how you be aggressive. Remember, this is very powerful what I'm saying. This came from Swami Vivekananda, and I used it on a BBC live program. You see, they were saying, making some, Christian minister, a woman was making fun of him, saying, yeah, you believe in idols, they're worshipping, and there's smoke coming out and all that. So I was very rough. I said, look, madam, the worst form of idolatry means giving sacredness to something is the idolatry of the book. You say, what do you mean by that? You see, idolatry, suppose you put an image and you worship Krishna or Shiva, that's fine, fair enough, you are kind of limited in your imagery. The idolatry of the book is worse because it says that everything has been written up for you in this particular book I gave in your face, so you can't think for yourself. All the thinking has been done. Just shut up and just listen to the book, read the book, don't interpret it, don't argue about it. It's fixed. And it's the word of God. Now, you see, this is called idolatry of the book. Giving such importance to the book in the scripture is frightening. It means you can't think anymore. That means you turn into morons. So when anybody attacks you, just say, look, you've got the idolatry of the book. It's the worst kind of idolatry. Just fixate it on the book. This is it. You read to my book. It's weak. You can't talk about it. Think about it. There was one cleric who had nothing better to do but memorizing the scripture, his own scriptures, chapter and verse, and some of the scriptures of other traditions to try and undermine them. Now, you see, we are not fixated on the book. So if somebody says, no, it's written here, it's yes, but we are able to interpret it and move on with the times. You are not. You are stuck. We are not stuck. The first thing is just challenge the word idolatry of the book. They'll run away from you straight away. Because it tells you you can't think. You are morons. So this is the first challenge. As soon as they come near you and say, idolatry, you are doing in your scripture written is here, but we are not fixated on scripture like you chaps. So don't argue about just focusing on the scripture. When somebody doesn't have his own thinking capacity, the only thing he will do is to focus on the scriptural material. See, this written chapter, Bhagavad Gita, this and this. Tell him, go away. Think for yourself. Interpret the religion using your rational faculty and come and challenge us. We are ready for challenges. We don't mind. We will respond to you. Also, I tell, when I interact with people of other religion, I say, look, you're welcome to ask me pointed questions, but please remember, I've got a habit of giving pointed answers. They'll really knock the heck out of you. I'll give some examples. One day, one Christian minister said, Mr. Lakhani, we're not trying to convert you. We're just spreading the good news. It sounds so nice and warm. Good news. We're just spreading the good news. I said, look, my friend, the news that you are kind of promoting or trying to spread is very old news, given 2,000 years ago. The news that I have has come from recent prophets, recent modern spiritual giants. This is kind of modern news. So do you know what they say about news? Old news is no news. News has to be modern. So that's why you should give up your old news and focus on what we are telling you. So the ability to turn the tables and respond in a robust manner is something that we should really not shy away from. We are very shy. We're apologetic all the time. So always, the other place where they can kind of in a way challenge Hindus is as follows. They say, oh, you believe in reincarnation, but you also have heaven and hell. So how can you have reincarnation in heaven and hell? The response is very simple. Our heaven and hell are very temporary places, fuzzy places where you pass by when you're going from one life to another life. There's no permanency about it whatsoever. That is why I believe in reincarnation. While your heaven and hell are permanent. It's a frightening scenario. If it means little mistake, you'll be roasted forever. You can't die even. Now, what kind of religion is that? So always take the challenge back. Or the fact that you will be getting infinite rewards for just minor good things you did here. Just because you believed in a scripture and you follow this particular pathway, you get infinite reward. Now, when you have any system of thought which gives you infinitely skewed risk-reward ratio, it is open for, in a way, abuse and produce fanatics. That is why people blow themselves up, blow other innocent people up, because they're going to have an infinite reward. So this finite body can be given up. So it creates fanatics in the name of religion. So you are fixated on this heaven and hell, which is creating hell on earth. In fact, I talked to the Catholic cardinal once, the main cardinal in UK. I told him at the meeting, I've got one question for you. By offering infinite reward in the hereafter, you are creating hell on earth. Please respond. And he had no response. How can he respond? Because then his whole theology crashes. So always, whenever they challenge you regarding reincarnation or regarding the scripture or material from your books, you should in your book. I know, but we are not fixated like you chaps. Always have this kind of positive response. And you see, the other area where they will try and challenge you is this typical, and I love to fire back, and I've done it so many times. They say infinite God cannot be finite, and this imagery is not right. You can't worship Ram and Krishna and Vishnu and Shiva. Oh, no, infinite, leave him alone. He must be infinite. I say, oh, good. This is the response I give. Take it. I say, your God is infinite with infinite power. They say, oh, yours. Does he have the power to become finite? They don't know how to respond. If they say don't have that power, that means he's not infinite enough. He's missing something. And if they say he has the power, but he's not using it, that means he's still not really able to interact with humanity. He's stuck up in the stratosphere. So always have this ability to be robust in the way you respond to challenges coming from the Abrahamic tradition. I've done it repeatedly and I keep winning. Without any hesitation, I win. Whether it's to do with reincarnation, not the two-life scenario, whether it's to do with the concept of God itself, whether it's to do with the scriptures. We are evolving religion. We produce modern material, not fixated on some antique stuff that was given by a prophet 2,000 years ago. So suppose you say, oh, in the Genesis, it says that God created the universe in 6 days and rested. Now the modern cosmologists say, come on, grow up. And then they have to be apologetic. They say, oh, it's just allegoric, Mr. Lakhani. It's not literal. See, straight with you put them on the defensive. This ability to take this challenge back to the Abrahamic globe is something that you should cater for. You should develop. Don't be frightened, my friend. Don't be frightened. We've been on the back foot for so many centuries. It's frightening. Look, there are certain individuals that I like very much who I wanted them to try and promote our e-learning course. Very famous people. And they were shy to say they are Hindus. They're promoting Hindu learning zone. I said, oh dear. We are frightened to even acknowledge our own tradition, our own wonderful tradition that we belong to. A very tremendous inheritance we possess. We want to discard it because we are frightened. Other people will point the finger. He's fixated on Hinduism, Hindu phobia. What rubbish. Fire. And I say, I've been telling this repeatedly. It's a matter of time before this nation shows its true colors, as if like the leader of the world. Because the moment you can see the other nations are cracking up with this coronavirus, you can see them cracking up. They are focusing on economic development rather than human values. So straightway, compared with that, with this poor country called India, they are showing magnanimous nature. Humanity comes first, money comes afterwards. So we are on the winning wicket at the moment. I can use cricketing term, and we will win the hearts and minds of the world in no uncertain terms. And India will once again become, if you like, the power that shows the way for spiritual awakening for the whole world. It has always done that. We'll do it again one more time, big way. Anyway, I will wait for you to ask me some questions, Manish Bhai. Sorry, Manish Bhai, yeah, go on.
Yes, we got a question from Adenichi Kumar. He's saying, heard the story of King Bharat. And it says you will become what you think at the time of death.
Okay, let me touch on this. Yes, let me touch on it. It's important.
If one thinks of Swami Vivekananda at the time of death, can one avoid report?
Well, you might become a Vivekananda and come back and do some service for humanity. That's one thing. Let me touch on the story of Bharat. This is another issue that sometimes people from Abrahamic tradition try to undermine, saying that how come that you got such a huge human population? Where do all the souls come from? And I say from the animal kingdom. You see, we believe in Darwin that the body that we possess has been chiseled by natural selection and become this complex over 3 billion years. We agree with Darwin. The physical framework we possess, the hardware we possess, has been chiseled by natural selection, as Darwin suggested. Perfectly fine. See how beautiful it is. But then you see an issue arises. Where does the software come from? The hardware, the computer is there, but the computer without the software, just like a little little, thing that the cursor's blinking in your face. You need something to lightening it up, get it working. And we say the software that is occupied by humanity has come through the process of reincarnation. The thing that occupies the physical frame has been chiseled over many lifetimes as the mental mode that will in a way, in a way become expressed in a new body. So we say that the character you possess will in a way come with you as your nature in the next life or when you take on a new body. But we say if you come up with animal kingdom, you may think this is funny, but it's not funny, it's very serious. A lot of issues we face as human beings, like say lust and greed and jealousy and viciousness. When you think, how did I get it? Am I an evil person myself? No, I told you, you come to the animal kingdom. So the reason why the human population is expanding is because a lot of animals are keen to get into the human kingdom. And as the process, they bring their own baggage. And the baggage appears as lust and jealousy and viciousness and all that. So in a way, it explains why some human characters appear evil. They're not evil. They're just gone through the trajectory in the animal kingdom where they acquired this trait to survive. And they've come with those traits in the human kingdom. And in a way, it shows up as viciousness and jealousy and all this. So when you realize this is the reason, reincarnation gives you an answer why you are as you are. And what you consider as evil is not really evil. It's just, if you like, the process of going through many lifetimes, something that you acquire. You are stuck with it. And then you have to get rounded off in the human kingdom and rise above it. This is the beauty part. So instead of reincarnating on the back, would say, oh, how did so many people come? Where did they come from? In a way, death tells you why we are as we are. And this thing that we call evil is not necessarily evil. It's simply the process of undergoing lots of different lifetimes. So, Manish, by this, let me just touch on the Bharat story. I like it. And one lady asked me, I think this morning on the MATV, she said, Mr. Lakhani, do you think that we can become born as an animal at the time of death? You think what animal become animal? And I said, there's a lovely mythological story, but a lovely story about Bharat, King Bharat. Let me touch on it, just make it interesting. Now, King Bharat was a very pious, very intellectual, tremendous spiritual personality in ancient India. And in those days in India, after you've done your worldly activities, you retire in the forest and live a very secluded life, focusing on spiritual progress. So this Bharat left his kingdom, left his palaces, went in a forest, built a little hut for himself, and was practicing meditation and thinking about higher things. Things were going well, and he was living, his hut was near a river. And one day while he was, tending his work, he saw a female deer trying to cross the river, topple over, and gave birth to a baby deer. Now, King Bharat is compassionate by nature, so of course he's not going to let the baby deer be dragged away, drowned in the water. He quickly went and rescued the baby deer, and he tended it, looked after it, fed it nice grass, and kept looking after it and petting it. And the little baby deer thought, this is my mommy, surely. And they lived very well with each other for all of their life. Now, problem comes as this. When Bharat Raja had to give up his body, he was thinking about the deer because he loved the deer so much. His whole mind was fixated on the deer. So when he died, according to the colorful mythological story, he was reborn as a deer because his mentality was focusing on the deer, the baby deer. So he was reborn as a deer. But his samskars, his characteristics was to be spiritual. So even as a deer, he just used to graze near a hermitage and eat the grass and listen to the Sanskrit slokas and all that. And then he was reborn again. Now this time he said, I don't want to get fixated on any deer or anybody else, any human beings as well. So when he was born, he decided not to interact with anybody. So he kept quiet. He wouldn't speak at all. So the family members who, where he was born thought he's an idiot. So they call him Jad Bharat, means a person who can't think, who can't speak. And Jad Bharat says, better for me to be like this rather than get fixated on any family member or anybody. I want to be spiritual, nothing else. So he kept quiet all his life. And they called him Jad Bharat and they gave him the leftovers in the food, etc. Mistreated him. All the brothers and the sisters-in-law mistreated him. And he just tolerated, he couldn't be bothered. And then the story goes, this is a beautiful story. And then one day there was a king passing by with his palki, with 4 people carrying the palki. And one palki, carrier became ill and they needed somebody. And they saw Bharat was quite well built. They said, this guy will do, let him carry. So Bharat said, no problem. He started carrying. While he was carrying, the palki was rocking a lot. So the king got upset. Why is the palki rocking? Who's doing this? Stop it. And they pointed at poor Bharat. And Bharat said, king said, you are idiot, absolute idiot. Why are you making the palki rock so much? And Bharat, for the first time, opened his mouth. And my God, what happened? He said, "Oh, king, if you are calling this body an idiot, then the same body that makes me makes you as well. So we are on the same boat." The reason why the palki was rocking is because while I was walking, I saw lots of insects on the floor. I didn't want to step on them, so I was avoiding stepping on insects. And the king knew that he's dealing not with some ordinary idiot. He's dealing with the most highly spiritually evolved being. So he fell at his feet and said, "Please, please, come to me to the palace and become my main advisor." And Bharat said, "Nothing do. I have been caught up with this deer stuff. I'm going to run away." He walked away. It's a beautiful story. So you can, in fact, go back to the animal kingdom, but the thing is highly unlikely. So when people say, "Oh, Mr. Lakhani," there's another thing that worries me. There's one bhajan in Hindu terminology, which says that when you get a human body, if you don't take advantage and become spiritually enlightened, you'll have to start your journey from scratch. You become a bacteria again and start your evolution from scratch. That can't be real. Come on. It's just a way to frighten you to make sure you lead a religious life while you've got a human body. That's all it is. It's not real. So don't get frightened. Once you're in the human kingdom, it is highly unlikely to be reborn as animal or insect. Highly unlikely. Because once you tasted humanity, how can you go back? That's why human population keeps growing. Nobody wants to go anywhere. You want to stay human and enjoy human life. So this is, if you're like, sorry, I'm digressing, but I really get caught up with this Bharat story. I love the story. I'll ask some more questions. Manish Bhai, anything else from you, sir?
Manish Bhai? Yes, we have the question from one of the other viewers. Concept.
Sorry?
Concept of God still confusing. Why does he create?
Okay, let's take this on. Now, you see, again, we have done lots of talks on concept of God, but again, you see, because it's such a complex phenomena, the Hindus themselves get caught up and lost. And somebody said to ask me, "Mr. Lakhani, what's the difference between, say, Ishwar and Bhagwan and Parmeshwar and Dev and Devta and all that?" Now, let's make a simple distinction. As we are a pluralistic tradition, we have approached the idea of ultimate reality using different pathways. Say in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, they said, let's invent the word Ishwar, something that's superior to other Atmans. So that is how the word Ishwar appeared. In the same way, the word Bhagwan means somebody who comes with tremendous, authority and tremendous power on earth. And this word, again, is looking at the ultimate reality as a personality, as a super personality called Bhagwan. It comes with all the powers and the glory. And then you see Raman Maharshi is called Bhagwan. Now look, he doesn't come with all the power and glory and four arms and all that. And yet he's called. So be careful. These are different titles we give to think about ultimate reality as a super personality. But there's one distinction I must make. The word Dev and Devta is not the same as God. Be careful. Dev, the word Dev comes from the Sanskrit root Deva, means made of light. The Hindus are claiming that those individuals who are more spiritually evolved, when they die, they take on the form of becoming a deva, means a being, higher being is the right word, higher being. So they are human, but they live at a slightly higher plane, at the plane of light, if you like. That's why they're called deva, made from the root deva, means like lit up. So these are kind of special, but these are not God. This simply means there's a higher level of existence where human beings who are evolved will live there for a short time, not permanent, thankfully, and then they kind of enjoy that particular more spiritually enlightened lifestyle. But then again, they come back to the human level and start that spiritual journey again, because that is just purely fuzzy place. So this is, if you like, the difference between Dev, Devi, and the word Ishwar or Parmeshwar or Bhagwan. But all these three other titles mean ultimate reality, personified in slightly different way. That's all. Now, the concept of God itself, you see, Hindus struggle, and I don't blame them. It's not easy. You see, the only thing is this: when Hinduism started, the dharma, the aim was not to look for a god. The aim was to sort our condition out. What is our who are we? What is this all about? So in the process, the real jackpot was, kind of in a way, hit by one great personality called Kapil. He discovered that we are not what we think we are. There's something deeper about all of us, which is not what it appears as. The body, the mind, the ego. No, it's something deeper. And this is an experiential thing, not intellectual, think or drink coffee and think about it. He experienced it. And this is the beginning of Hinduism. There was no God there. He just said that something which is underpinning us, all of us, is something dramatically different from what it appears. In the two words he devised, this is the beginning of Hinduism, no God still, saying, oh,
Nisit Bhai here, Jai Bhai has been lost on from the Zoom, so hopefully join back.
Let me just bring him back.
Okay, Nisit Bhai is trying to connect you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, you are on.
I've unmuted him and I will spotlight Jai Bhai again.
Okay, I'm back.
The Jai Bhai, the camera is the wrong way around. You need to flip it sideways.
Oh, God. I don't know how I can flip it now.
Oh, just turn it.
This way?
Yep.
Looks even worse. I look as if I'm going to slide off.
No. Just flip it one way or the other. That's not the correct way.
Okay,
The
so
other side.
The other side. Flip it 90 degrees to your left. Yeah, that's fine.
I see myself. I see myself upside down. But if you
are you able to do it landscape?
Can you? Is it
yes,
better?
That's fine. That's fine.
Just stay online. Okay.
We carry on. The joys of technology.
This lockdown is making us learn all these new things.
You're doing very well.
Are you all right now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's carry on. So the concept of God, the concept of God was basically finding what is our true nature. This is how we started, not looking for a God in the heaven. What is our true nature? And there we discovered something dramatic. We say the difference between what we are and what we think is called Purush and Prakriti. The observer, the subject, and the objective reality encounters Prakriti. This is how we started. But these ideas are very floaty and very abstract. And unless you experience it, you can't really relate to it. So what did you do? What did we do next? As we progress further, we realize the best way to relate to our true nature is to project it outward and build relationship with it. This is how Hinduism progressed. Otherwise, it's not practical. Only 1 in a million will be able to experience that I'm the spirit, I'm Purush. The rest we are stuck with us. We have no link with religion. So the progress was very practical, very pragmatic, and very organic. We said the best thing we possess, if you can project it outward and give it super status, and then build relationship with it, we can again relate to our true nature. This is what you've done without realizing it. That's how we produce all these lovely gods and goddesses. The idea of ultimate reality is a supreme personality. All the features that we possess, the good features, by the way, the compassion and enlightened, becoming empowered and all that, we project it outward and say, oh Lord, you are that, all powerful, all knowing, all compassionate. And we call him Shiva or Vishnu or Mother Goddess. And then we build relationship with that by saying we must become like you. So we worship you, we show devotion to you, we build temples in your name, and we link up with you through devotion, etc. And in a way, link up with our true nature by, in a way, focusing on external code. So what we already have, we project it outward into infinitely more stronger than what we feel we are. And we try to build relationship with our true nature. That is what religion is all about. This is how we produce all these gods and goddesses. So different people will focus on different godhead depending on their own temperament and try and build relationship with it. And we say we are not apologizing for it at all. This is a very practical way of relating to our true nature, spirit. So the philosophic idea is you are the spirit, Atman, Brahman. But the tricky chaps. So we say project it outward and say this is called Paramatman. This is a God. So we try and relate to our true nature by focusing on an external personality called God and building relationship with it. Once you know that, you are in a very strong, solid ground. Even an atheist person who doesn't want to believe in religion will say, this sounds so sensible, except he doesn't believe what is this thing called spirit. But the thing is, this is the way you understand the concept of God in Hinduism. Then you are safe. Not only safe, you can take the challenge back to the secular lobby saying, look, my friend, you want to sort your human condition out. Chasing after material things has failed now with this coronavirus. Focus on the idea that you are the spirit, my friend, not this physical frame that is under attack at the moment. I'll take some more questions from Manish Bhai.
Nisit Bhai turn now.
Yep. So welcome to the broadcast, everybody. It's great to be back in some form of communication with you all. Hiding behind the phone was not really the best option for me. I like being here on screen so I can interact with you all. And I am seeing lots of people coming onto the Facebook group. So I'd just like to say a few hellos to, we got Reena Rambujan watching us from South Africa. And we've got plenty of other people. We've got Janak Pansuria, who's asking us if we've got anything, any arm of our Hindu Academy in Gujarat. We've got Pratik Garg from Kolkata and West Bengal. We've got Krishna Thakra, Kalyan Taparia, Varsha Mistri, Andy Vikari, Nihal Dodia, Ashok Lakhani, Sanjay Patel, Lina Ganatra, Veena Babani, and so many others online as well. So, Jaybai, we have a question here from one of the viewers, and the question is basically, um, are you yourself believing in the Advaita philosophy or the Dvaita philosophy?
Okay. If you point the camera at me, I'll answer. You see, I'll be very honest. I like to be very transparent. There's nothing to hide. You see, initially, I was also confused. Is Dvaita means thinking of God as an ultimate reality, external reality that you try and build relationship the best way, Dvaita? Or the idea that my true nature is something special, better way, Advaita, which is better. And it's a struggle. But then you see, my mentor, he's a very weird chap called Ramakrishna, showed me that you can be both. Both? How can it be both? One moment, for example, look, when I meditate, when I manage to get into deep meditation, then I knew I am the spirit. I know. But then you see, in the routine life, things go bad for me. I get stomachache all the time. I be a struggle. So when I'm struggling, do I think I am Atman? No, it doesn't help me. I'm in trouble. So I have to look at it like my mentor and say, oh, help me, mommy. So I become Dvait. So when you are in this material frame, it's best not to lose track of being a Dvait, means thinking of ultimate reality as a supreme personality who can help you, back you up, etc. But when you're in the flow of your spiritual experience, you are in the look. Advait is the destination. Dvait is the pathway. Remember, there's a difference. They're not contradictory. Dvait or the Vishishta Dvait are pathways to become spiritual, and Advait is the destination. You can't become Advait. What do you mean by that? You need to build up the link. So the link is always Dvait. From Dvait or Vishishta Dvait, you attain Advait. Advait is the destination and not a pathway. We mix them up. I hope I've answered the question. Yes, sir. Anything else, Nishit Bhai?
Yep. So we have another question, and this was from Pratik Arvind Benaka. And the question is basically asking, how does Gayatri Mantra help in today's time?
Very important. You see, I tell you how the Gayatri was produced to start with. The lovely ancient sage Vishwamitra, in deepest meditation, discovered this wonderful thing. Look, he didn't invent it. Gayatri is not an invention. It's a discovery by this ancient sage Vishwamitra. So in the deepest meditation, Vishwamitra came across this wonderful prayer. It's not a prayer, it's a wonderful way of acknowledging the spiritual underpinning to reality. And this is what it says. Look, there are many different interpretations. People like to interpret it depending on their own sectarian movement. I'll give you my version. He says, let us meditate. Look, meditation is the best tool to recognize our true nature of spirit. Let us meditate on the glorious effulgence they use. Effulgence, not light. Because light requires external source. You need a wire to get the power going. Effulgence means self-lit. Let us meditate on the glorious effulgence of that supreme, which is underpinning reality. You can't even say it's a cause, underpinning reality. Then the lovely next part I love. That's why Gayatri is so beautiful. He said, may she, first time a prayer in the world tradition addresses the ultimate reality as she. May she enlighten my hearts and direct my understanding. The two things the human beings possess, the intellect and the heart, lovely heart that kind of draws us to spirituality. The prayer is very natural. It says, let both these faculties I possess, my head and heart, turn to experiencing the ultimate reality that underpins this reality. So normal prayers are begging prayers. Oh Lord, can you give me money and wealth, and I will this problem and that problem, like with me is IBS. So the prayers are kind of asking for personal things. This one says, no, I don't want anything from you. I want the ultimate reality. I want to experience the ultimate reality. That's why it's a very potent prayer, discovered, not invented, by Vishwamitra in the deepest of meditation. So it's very relevant. In fact, wherever I go, I tell the Hindus the best prayer that the world has ever produced is the Gayatri. It doesn't ask anything. It's not a begging prayer. It says, let me become enlightened using my head and my heart. That's what it is saying. What more do you want? That's why Gayatri is very potent.
Thank you, Jay. So just another quick hello to Sean Seacharan watching us from Trinidad. We've got Desnidhi Srivastava from Lucknow in India. We've got Kamini Taylor. And we've got a few other people who are commenting saying that they're really enjoying the Hinduism course that you have recently launched. And in fact, Pratik Garg, our regular viewer, is saying that, please think about starting an intermediate and an advanced course now. So the next question I have.
Sorry, can I
yes?
Nishit Bhai, you are very
Yes.
good at Nishit Bhai. You are very good with statistics. Can you give our viewers the statistics of our work on the YouTube, on the e-learning course, etc.? Because you are very good with all these graphs and stuff. Please share with us what are the statistics of our YouTube viewership, Facebook viewership, and our e-learning zone.
Sure. So I will just share that we launched the e-learning course last week, and we have over 1,800 students enrolled in the course already in the space of the last 1 week. And for the YouTube channel, we have 55,500 subscribers almost at the moment. And from the analytics, I can see that we get roughly about 10,000 views a day to the videos. In the last 1 month, we have had 1.26 million views, 1.26 million minutes watched on the channel in the last 28 days, and a total of 227,000 video views on the channel across the month. So that is simply superb, and it's all down to the audience who've been so kind and generous with sharing all the content and consuming the content that we put out.
Thank you, Nishit Bhai.
So I have one question. So somebody has just asked me that why did Dashrath, the father of Ram, have 4 wives? If according to the Hindu religion,
Good question. Always ask this kind of very natural questions. You see,
so if according to the Hindu religion, a second marriage for a man is prohibited, especially when the first wife is alive, then that was the question. Why was Dashrath
you see a
having
variation
4
straight
wives?
away. You see this Ram, the son of Dashrath, saying only one wife, one man, one wife. See Ram, only one man, one wife. And when Sita was exiled, he said, I'm not going to remarry again, even though he had to do this yajna and all this. I'm not going to remarry. So this is like the goody-goody, the Adarsh Purushottam, Sri Ram, not prepared to marry him a second time. But Dashrath was perhaps not as Adarsh as the son Ram, so he had 4 wives. Now let me tell you some background about this, so many wives and all this polygamy and etc. You see, remember, societies evolve, and sometimes there's an imbalance between the number of men and women in society. When there is an imbalance, there's some of the more women than men. It may be a good idea for one man who is able to afford marry more than one wife, get more than one wife, because then these wives are taken care of. Otherwise, we lose canons in the system, disturbing a lot of married people. So it's better if there's an imbalance, there are more women in the society, then it may be a good idea for men who can afford, that means that like people like kings and noble people, to get more than one wife. This used to happen. And that's one thing. And also there's another interesting thing you may not realize in the story of Mahabharata, it becomes visible. Sometimes there's imbalance the other way around. There are more men than women. So now what to do? So it is possible for a woman to have more than one husband. See the story of Draupadi. This is reflecting a historic issue. In some parts of in ancient India, there was an imbalance. There were more men than women. So it was quite natural for one wife to have more than one husband. So I tell some young ladies who come to me, I say, look, it may be a good idea to have 2 husbands, one for the weekend and one for the weekdays. I'm just joking, don't do that. So it depends on the society. You see, this is the nature of, you must evolve, the laws of society must evolve to take into account the changing context. At the moment, for example, in India, there are more men than women because they've been aborting women. So at the moment, women are more valuable. So they can ask for a dowry, I suspect. So this is how you must adjust society depending on the social context in which you operate. This is visible. So the story of Dashrath and Ram is very interesting, but that's what I'll say. I'll take some more questions.
Jay, if I could ask you to pick your phone, because the viewers in YouTube are struggling to hear my audio. They can't hear my audio.
Okay, what should I do now?
I've called you on your phone.
Okay.
If you keep that on speaker, then they can hear my audio when I ask the question. Oh dear, he's dropped out as well. So okay. So while we are waiting for Jaybai to get onto the broadcast, I think we will have an issue with the audio this time around. These are the joys of technology. We did not take this into account when preparing the broadcast. Where we've got Zoom, which is broadcasting to Facebook, and Manish Bhai is on YouTube, and it's on an audio call with Jaybai. Am I right? Manish Bhai, I will just unmute you, and I'll bring Jaybai back. Jaybai?
Yes, can you see me now?
we can see you now. Okay, we'll just carry on as it is. I'll let Manish Bhai ask the next question.
Okay, let Manish ask the questions. Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
Manish.
yes,
Manish
sir.
Manish Bhai,
Yes,
you're
sir.
up.
Go
So
ahead.
we had one question. What is the difference between prayer and worship?
Oh, please don't be technical on me. Prayer is basically heartfelt love to link up with ultimate reality, saying, I want to link up, pray, get closer to you. And worship, you can say, is a formal way of trying to kind of link up with ultimate reality using a very formal liturgy, formal ritual practice. That's all I can say. I can't go into any more detail by exploring the etymology of the words prayer and worship, but I'll leave it at that. I'll take some more questions if I can.
I think Sita's turn now.
Go on, ask
Hello.
me a question.
Yeah. Hello. I've got one question. How can the idea of spiritual humanism help humanity in the current situation?
Ah, you see, Sita is close to my heart, as you know, she's my daughter. She's saying, how does spiritual humanism become relevant in the world that we live in? You see, I'm saying very bluntly, with this coronavirus, one of the side effects of coronavirus is rattling humanity to its core. Up to now, in the last few thousand years, last few hundred especially, the humanity has been so fixated on matter, everything explained in terms of matter, physics in terms of matter, including our living style, the way we live our lives, purely focusing on materialism. I'll give you an example. I used to be quite a very important businessman living in a huge mansion with swimming pool and all that. And we used to get invitation for people we didn't even know for parties. And my wife was very impressed. She said, this is good. Look, people are inviting us. I said, they're not inviting us. They're inviting this building. They see this huge building. They think these people must be invited. So they're not inviting us. There's no love for us. Remember that. It's the building, money, materialism that's inviting us, being invited, making us being invited. So don't get worked up. So this is the way humanity is very fixated on materialism. It's a sad thing. But now what has happened with the coronavirus, this pesky little virus, humanity has been rattled to the core. This fixation on matter, going on cruises, going on this clubbing and pubbing and drinking and meeting up, all that, it's all stopped overnight. Boom. It's a serious danger. You might get coronavirus and die. So you can't chase after your material aspiration anymore on cruises and traveling by air and all that. So suddenly all this has come to a halt because of with the compliments coronavirus. So people are saying, what do we do? How do we spend our time? They're getting depressed in the house with the lockdown. So now this is the time for spiritual humanism to come in its own. Saying, look, my friend, this chasing after material objectives has come to a halt. So now focus on something different, not materialism, my friend. Those days are gone. So focus on something deeper. How do you pass your time? How do you get out of depression? When you recognize there's something very dramatic within yourself, expressing through this very limited frame that we possess, that is called spiritual humanism. Looking inwards. When I say I'm inward, we say, oh, do we go sit down and say, oh, no. Recognize the dignity and divinity that is within you, and in a way, try and embrace that divinity and dignity rather than some material objective. The reason why India has been a single civilization for thousands of years is because it's always done that. Focus on higher principles, higher ideals than material, convinced aspirations. So we didn't go out to conquer other people. We appear to be quite happy with ourselves. And this is why, because we are focusing on higher aspiration rather than material aspiration. That has made this nation great. And you can see now on modern stage, Narendra Modi is coming up as top leader in the world, no doubt. Because when the coronavirus struck, he wasn't bothered with, saving the economy like the Western powers. He said, focus on humanity, save humanity, lockdown immediately. When we are struggling economically, lockdown. The Western powers will think, no, what about the economy? Let's start, removing the lockdown because otherwise the economy will suffer. Money, see? So now spiritual humanism, which comes with Narendra Modi with India, modern India, will again resurface and in a way direct the rest of the humanity to move towards a spiritual aspiration. This is what spiritual humanism is all about. Take some more questions.
Okay, so Jay Bhai, I'd like to throw you a googly now.
Go for it.
So the question is this. Does marriage as an institution need to be updated, or is it fine as it is now?
Nishit Bhai is asking, because people in YouTube perhaps didn't hear that. Nishit Bhai is saying, should the institution of marriage be kind of reformatted depending on the modern society that we live in? Now you see, Nishit Bhai, we know we all have a problem with our wives, and we all wish we can reconstitute the institution of marriage. But take care, take care. It's not that straightforward. So you see, look, society is moving on. Nowadays, youngsters are now focusing on the idea of living together rather than actually getting formally married. This is the world that we live in. A lot of people live with their partners, not their husband or wives. And we can't stop it. This is how humanity thinks for itself and decides how to, go along. So the modern vision of marriage has changed already without us, prompting it. And the modern thinking youngsters are saying, no, we live with each other. If we get on, fine. Otherwise, we will just part company. And there is no fixed marriage, etc. Now, this may sound like a very open system, very perhaps a fairer system, but it comes with a caveat as usual. Institution of marriage is a very useful tool humanity and religions have been using to make sure society doesn't crack up. Let me give an example. So there's no fixed rule that you live together for 2-3 days or weeks and then move apart. And suppose you've got a child, what happens with the child? The whole thing starts to crack up. You've got a lot of one parent families all over the world, and it's frightening, and the children suffer. So the institute of marriage was very carefully planned. It's a natural attraction between the male and female. So this natural attraction can be in a way harnessed into the institution of marriage, because then there's a solid brickwork for society. Because you've got a husband, wife, and children being looked after by the husband and wife, the small family unit, a nuclear family, and that becomes the building block of society, a very solid society. So this is the reason why this natural attraction between men and women were harnessed to produce a very solid structure in society. That's why marriage was important. But society is moving on. They say, okay, maybe useful in the past days, but nowadays, no. If you get on, fine, we just part company. We might do a special kind of agreement that if that happens, and who's going to look after the children, they might do that. But as I said, it's a serious downside to it, because society itself, the solid brickwork we had, is beginning to crack up. So this is the downside to this kind of reformulated idea of how men and women can live with each other. But it's not something that I can stop. Humanity is moving fast, and they decide themselves. They'll take this kind of dangerous course. But I'm not here to stop it, because this is the way society moves, human beings behave, and so be it. Take some more questions.
Manish Bhai, over to you.
Yes, sir. We had a question from Nirvanic Insights. He's saying he's doing research on concept of nirvana, and says, how far does nirvana go back?
Okay, I'll be very frank. I'm not a very good historian, but you see, the word nirvana is more used by the Jain tradition than the Hindu tradition. So Jainism will claim they are as ancient as Hinduism. So be it. It's very difficult to dig out the historicity of some of these religions which are very ancient. And in India, we have these two kind of Hinduism and this Shramanic tradition, which is kind of focusing on this kind of aesthetic living. And this Jainism and Buddhism belong to that. So in the Jain tradition, the term they use is nirvana. They don't use the word moksha, they use the word nirvana. They're saying human condition is treacherous, it's difficult. We all know it. That's how Buddhism started. It's suffering, guaranteed suffering. So they say, let's kind of, rise above this suffering. And this is called nirvana. Means stopping this flow of being reborn again and again, because it's a nuisance. So the word nirvana goes back to Jainism rather than Hinduism. Very ancient term. I don't have the historic, even the Jains, I don't think have the historic information regarding how old this term is, but it's very as ancient as Jainism. This is the resolution of human condition in Jainism, nirvana. Means stop this kind of flow of reincarnation. In Hindu tradition, we say, we don't use the word nirvana. Some may use it. We use the word moksha. End of delusion, that you can sort yourself out by chasing after desires. This is how we redefine the word nirvana as moksha in the Hindu tradition. I think that's all I can say about this. Anything else, sir? Yes, Manish Bhai. Any other questions from your side?
Yes, we have a question from Rajesh Patil. He's from Maharashtra. He's asking a question regarding saints of Maharashtra, and there are many chamatkar related to them. So he's referring to Sant Gnaneswar and Tukaram. So what is your take on these saints?
Look, India is such a fortunate nation. Every state throughout India will produce super giants, spiritual giants, every one of them, like Tukaram, etc., Mira in Rajasthan, Narsi Mehta in Gujarat, and so on. Throughout India, every state will produce super kind of personalities from time to time. And the thing is this, We recognize that they present their idea of religion in a particular mode, not because they're wrong or right. This is the mode that suited their own environment, their own background, and we recognize it. Some may be kind of personality oriented, like Tukaram. Some may be kind of oriented towards a spiritual aspiration, like Namdev, etc. Namdev, etc. So we recognize the variation with different spiritual personalities. We are so fortunate. Look, we are so fortunate. We produce them throughout the centuries. So when somebody says, who are your founders? You're no founder. I say, we've got too many founders to count. That's our problem. So these are lovely personalities. We can, depending on our own kind of aptitude, we might relate to a specific personality based on our own, if you like, temperament. For example, when I heard Narsi Mehta, because I'm Gujarati, and when I heard some of his poetry, and I said, "Hey, this guy is superior to anybody you can think of." I just give touch on some of them. See, I'm not very familiar with the Maharashtrian tradition, so I can't say too much about Tukaram, but let me talk about Narsi Mehta, the Gujarati great personality. When I started reading his poems, and I said, even the poem that we use, like this Vaishnava Janto came from Narsi Mehta. But Narsi Mehta is a unique personality, the depth of highest spiritual experiences. Look, he said, when I suddenly get awakened, this is the poetry. When I get awakened, suddenly I see the world not as it is, but I just see Brahman playing with Brahman. Brahmani same Brahma latka kare. Look at the Gujarati language. It's nothing of Brahman playing with Brahman. This is the whole creation. There's no two. It's only Brahman playing with itself. Brahman playing with Brahman. Brahmani same Brahma latka kare. I said, oi, this guy is hit the jackpot. So with wonderful stuff coming out on Narsi Mehta, a rustic poet, a Gujarati poet, and yet the highest philosophy flowing from his lips, the purest of Vedas, in a most poetic manner. I think I won't say much about Tukaram because I've got very limited knowledge about Tukaram. Yes, and Manishpa, anything else?
Jay,
yeah, yes.
So we have one question from Facebook viewer, Kamini Taylor. She's making more of an observation, saying that during over the past recent years, Hindu wedding ceremonies seem to have been focused more on the sort of aesthetics and the look. So even the priests, she feels, has lost the real essence of the ceremony, and the ceremonies are becoming shorter and more of like a show. What is your view on this, and what can be done to keep the Hindu ceremonies more traditional?
Okay, the question, in case somebody didn't hear it, is basically this lady is asking that the marriage ceremonies are nowadays more showmanship rather than sincere spiritual kind of practice or spiritual ritual being carried out. It is true, very true. As the Hindus struggle with a deeper vision of Hinduism, they focus on the superficial. And superficial is, okay, we got this marriage ceremony. In fact, majority of Hindu youngsters, professionals in the West, whether they are professionals or intelligent youngsters in the West, the only thing they relate to the Hinduism is the wedding ceremony. That's all. So they say the whole life is in a kind of project, kind of focusing on the wedding ceremony. It's a reality. And they say they collect a lot of, they save a lot of money and literally blow it away within a couple of days in marriage ceremony. And where do they pick up all the stuff from? Z television, all these soap operas. Because they do all these elaborate ceremonials, with colorful clothing that you wear, and the music has to be according to this, and the food that you serve must be like this. So they pick up this stuff from this kind of very, very crass, very highly materialistic kind of television operas, soap operas, and they focus on that as that is their religion. The deeper vision that comes with Hindu wedding is lost. In fact, one of the great priests that I know, I love in London, he said, Mr. Lakhani, while I was conducting the wedding ceremony, people in the background were drinking wine and beer and burping, and it destroys the dignity of the ceremony. I said, I know. I won't mention his name, but this is the reality. So we have lost track of the deeper vision of our tradition, this idea of trying to focus on the actual ceremony for what it is, exchanging vows, very sincere vows between a husband and wife regarding how they're going to lead their life. That is lost by this superficiality. In fact, I saw one wedding when I was spending £100,000 overnight, and within a few days, the marriage cracks up. They're not being given the spiritual dimension of their religion, purely given this kind of superfluous, showmanship, and that marriage cannot last. So it's a very sad situation. It is true, very true in India as well as in the West. In the West here, marriage ceremony has become a purely showmanship. See how I made money, and I'm going to show you how I can spend the money and do this elaborate, beautiful, go to the top hotel and pay £100 per person, etc., and show I've got wealth. Where is the spiritual dimension, my friend? You are a spiritual nation. Focusing on this external showmanship destroys your dignity and the dignity of the marriage ceremony itself. This is very true, and I'm very, very, I really fire away whenever I see stuff like that. I fire away, saying, "What a waste of money." In fact, marriages should be used in ancient times. Marriages were times when people used to donate money for charitable purposes, saying a wonderful thing is happening. A wonderful thing is happening. We are getting our daughter or son married, and this has to be celebrated. How do we celebrate it? By blowing money away in a big hotel? No. Use money to, this is a time to donate for charitable purposes. So use this money to give, if you like, donation, charitable donation, saying the money that I got, half the money I'll use for my wedding, half money will go straight for charitable purposes. See, this is why you dignify your religion, your family, and the values that you possess. This is the time to, in ancient times, this is what they used to do. They used to donate money at the time of wedding, give a lot of money to the poor people who are struggling. Give out. This is the time for you to show that you are a magnanimous person and you want to share your wealth, not just show off, but to share it with people who deserve it. This is how marriages should be celebrated. But we struggle. We are, in a way, caught up in this highly materialistic mode at the moment. I'll take some more questions.
Fantastic, Jay. So we must have done something right, because this year we celebrated our 20th anniversary.
How did you do that then, Nishitbhai? You didn't invite us and didn't do big showmanship. Terrible, horrible, Nishitbhai.
So Jay, I want to ask you a series of quick fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
So these questions we have gone through before, I think maybe a year back or something like that. But it's always nice to recap, and they're like basic questions on Hinduism. And if I ask you in a rapid fire style, I'm sure the viewers will enjoy it as well. So if you're ready, I'll ask you the first question. Why does Hinduism have so many gods?
Okay, straightforward. I mean, we touched on it. Not so many gods, so many ways to relate to God. There's a big difference. As we are different, the way we relate to the idea of ultimate reality will be different, because we've got a different starting point in our religious journey. So I may be focusing because of my family background. I like Shiva, so that's my way of thinking about it. Somebody says, no, I like Vishnu. So it's reflecting a variety of different family backgrounds to relate to the idea of ultimate reality. It's a variation that we have, not in the God. God is same, but we have a different way of looking at him. That's why we call him with different names and forms. And again, this Narsi Mehta I've talked about. Ekaj Ishwar Jujwa Naam Ne Roop. See, the same ultimate, different names and forms we give depending on our requirement. Next one.
Fantastic. So what is karma? It seems a concept that's relatively easy to understand, but why do people struggle to grasp it properly?
I tell you, and Nishitbhai, it's good that you brought it up. I got an email from somebody said, the law of karma is basically Newton's third law of motion. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. I said, no, this is too simplistic. It's not that straightforward. Law of karma is far more than Newton's third law of motion, far more complex. It simply says objects and events are strongly intertwined in a very unusual manner. And this is what physics is talking about. You see, you've got electromagnetism, you've got gravitation, you've got all these forces strongly intertwining the objects and events that we can encounter. This is the law of karma. Causality, cause and effect, not action and reaction, equal and opposite. Because then is this, then the oversimplistic interpretation is this. Suppose I said, I'm making fun. Suppose you slap somebody, boom. Yes, horrible action. I was there. Maybe in the next life he will come and slap me. That's called action. Action and reaction equal and opposite. That doesn't happen. So please be careful. Don't give this kind of oversimplistic interpretation of the law of karma. It's a very complex phenomena. They're linking objects and events in a very complex manner. Your own contribution to what happens to you may be very limited. Be careful. A lot of other things are out of your control, are going to hit you, going to gang up in your favor or against you. Please be aware of the mature vision of law of karma. Take some more.
Thank you. So one of the backbones of Hinduism is the word dharma. But how do you explain the word dharma to today's youth?
Oh, that's easiest. Tell them, if you look at the definition of word science, it is no different from the definition of word dharma. Then they, oh, we know science. Science is simply saying you want to suss out the nature of reality. What are the rules and laws that operate in the world? That's what science is all about. These are called gravitation and electromagnetism and blah, blah. So science is looking at the laws that dictate the world outside. The word dharma is saying exactly the same. Suss out the laws and the rules that operate in the world outside as well as the world inside. Our inner faculties, our mind, our intellect, our linguistic ploys, these are inner part that we possess. What are the rules that operate there in the inner world? So soft sciences talk of anthropology, psychology, etc. And hard sciences, sorry, it's making a lot of noise. And hard sciences talk about laws that operate in the outside world. And if you look at the definition of science, external as well as the soft science as well as hard sciences, the definition is no different from the word dharma, making sense of the laws that operate in the world outside as well as inside. And why do we want to do that? Because we can harness them and reveal the divinity which lies already within. We don't conjure it. There's something divine. But if we can control the laws outside world and the laws that control the inner world, we hold them down, control them, harness them, and say, yoo-hoo, we say, we are spirit, we are Atman. This is the definition of dharma. Sussing out the laws of nature, external and internal, so that we can reveal the divinity which lies within. This is the definition of dharma.
Okay, so the next question is, the Western world often portrays Hinduism in a negative light regarding the caste system and untouchability. But is it truly part of the religion, or is it something to do with societal norms? And in today's world, does it really exist?
Good idea. Okay, let me touch it very fast. First of all, the stratification in society that is called hereditary hierarchical caste system is visible in every society in the history of humanity. The English class system is precisely that. The queen is the head of the state as well as head of the church just by mere birth, hereditary and hierarchical. She's superior to others. We have to bow down to her. So this hereditary hierarchical is visible in every society throughout the history of humanity. The only problem is in India, somehow we paraded as a religious injunction. And that caused hell for us, because then anybody wants to vilify Hinduism and say, you hereditary caste system. I say, you got class system. You are no different. So this idea of turning the tables on, saying every society has it, except in our society, it paraded as a religious injunction. At best, it can be described as an atrocity committed in the name of Hinduism. It is not Hinduism, full stop. And the other thing is this caste system has not disappeared, Nishit Bhai. It has become international. I'll show you. For example, at the moment, we are struggling with this coronavirus. Now you see the caste system on an international scale. Now, the international scale caste system is the first world, United Kingdom, United States. Oh, we are so clever and more intelligent and more powerful. In the third world, struggling third world, Africa, Asian countries. Now, in the coronavirus, who is going to pay a price? The third world. If there is this issue of global warming, who is going to pay a price? The third world. This is the internationalized caste system, the first world and the third world. So it has not gone away. Humanity has this habit of saying, we are special, we kind of stay aloof and you guys can die. So the caste system is very much international now, not just Hinduism or depending on any nationality. It is international now. The first world and the third world shows the division based on your birth, where you're born, you suffer. So sorry, I can try dragging.
That is truly a sobering thought for today. But the last question from me, because I'm conscious of time, is I've heard some Hindus use the word Sanatan Dharma. What does that mean?
Okay, the word dharma I already explained. Harnessing the laws external and internal to reveal the divinity within us. That's the beautiful way of defining the word dharma. Sanatan is something interesting. Sanatan says we are looking for that resolution of human condition, which is not just temporary, means just a fashionable statement suitable for just this particular age. It has to be something that is eternal. It must have eternal value, just like law of gravitation has eternal value. You can't say, oh, it's stop tomorrow. So it's an eternal thing that we're looking for. And the other word is universal. So you can't say it's restricted to people of brown skin in India. It must be universal. What we are talking about is resolving the human condition must be both eternal and universal. That's the meaning of the word Sanatan. I think Nishit Bhai, we've been wonderful. Sorry, we're messing around with our technology, but we are somehow managing. So I'll leave it to you to conclude today.
Okay, fine. We are at 1 hour's time over the broadcast for now. And I will like to always end with a quote from Swami Vivekananda. And today's quote is that learn everything that is good from others, but bring it in and in your own way absorb it. Do not become others. So Jay Bhai, final thoughts on that, and then we can.
Sir, after you quote Vivekananda, how can I say anything more? I'm finished.
So okay, so thank you once again, everybody, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again on Saturday next week at 2 o'clock UK time. Thank you and bye bye for now.
Thank you.